Welcome back. Dr. Yassine Bismillah joins us once again for a very important conversation to share his practical and expert advice to help those with ADHD navigate life with confidence. We'll be exploring strategies to empower individuals with ADHD to reboot and thrive in their daily lives. Dr. Bismillah, let's jump right into it. I know people with ADHD struggle a lot with confidence. It's a lack of time management and also a bunch of stuff that they have to learn just a bit longer than other people. What can we do to help them boost their confidence?
100%. So confidence is extremely important. When a person is independent and is empowered, they are more confident. Confidence doesn't happen overnight. So it'll be a process, right? So it's very important to note that you do not have the disease. The disease doesn't own you. You're independent and you can overcome this. And by looking at the treatment options, you can really see yourself improve in the workplace, see yourself improve in life, see yourself get somewhere and actually debulk those stigmas around ADHD in a box, etc. So the confidence will come in when you start achieving the goals and when you actually start to get beyond that attention deficit disorder.
I absolutely love the fact that you said that confidence doesn't happen overnight, and that happens whether you have ADHD or not. But I think with practice, this definitely means setting goals, knowing where you're going. Would you then say that having some kind of routine will help with people with ADHD? How does that help?
Extremely important, right? So ADHD people are classically known to be very disorganized and are very scatterbrained, very scattered. So you walk into someone's house, they would have a very disorganized bathroom, disorganized living room, studying area, etc. But that could be normal, right?
Yes.
But for someone with ADHD, they need to have solid rules and a solid routine in place. So, for example, having a list of things to do in each room, for example, might motivate and then encourage that person to clean up, for example, or whatever their goals are in life to do. And that will then, again, boost that confidence level so much more, and routine is extremely important.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of information. We're living in a wonderful age where you can get information just like that. There are journal articles in magazines, so many places where you can find out what you can do to help yourself. But let's talk about practical reasons, because it's not always practicals. How can I practically, as somebody with ADHD, focus on not being impulsive, not being easily distracted by the noise around me, please?
So, very important. Everything we said sounds very nice, but support is extremely important. You need a partner, you need a family, you need a friend even to understand that this person is, all over the show. This person needs a bit more help in a situation, And having a good support system, I feel, is extremely important in solidifying overcoming ADHD. And beyond that, it'll reduce the impulsivity, right? So if you have a friend who looks after you and has your back, especially, say, for example, you're also struggling with anxiety. I mean, people with ADHD are extremely anxious. That anxiety of not doing well or failing,
Yes.
It could be depressive as well. So having a good support system just helps to encourage and solidify the bonds of success.
I'm so glad you brought up support. I mean, while I was growing up, ADHD was just a term we kind of used for fun. Everybody would be like, I have ADHD, not really understanding that it is something that can hold somebody back. So how can we support somebody that does have ADHD? I know we spoke about the importance of support, but as parents, as caregivers, as friends, as partners, what can we do to help somebody with ADHD?
Firstly, I think the first step is to be extremely sensitive towards someone you can see is struggling, cannot hold a job, for example, is not focused on the right things, is extremely impulsive. It's very important to be very sensitive and not box that person into, maybe it's drug abuse, or maybe it's substance abuse, or maybe it's just how that person always is. I look at myself, for example, I thought that's exactly how life is supposed to be. It's supposed to be always stressful, getting things done, having to slay every single day. That's not what life is about.
And it's a ridiculously high standard to live by.
100%. And then you actually realize you become a disorder. So in my case, ADHD was even used in my support. That you're ADHD, you're going to do so well. But then as soon as the real life hit and the functionality situation went downhill, I realized I need help. So for someone who is struggling and who needs help, ask a friend, ask around, and for friends and family to be sensitive first and do not throw the word ADHD or any other mental health condition around, and to go and see a healthcare worker, be it an occupational therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist. Your first port of entry should be a medical person.
I am fully going to take advantage of the fact that you're here, Dr. Bismillah, and take this opportunity to learn more about ADHD myself. I don't know much about the diagnosis. One day I'll have children of my own. I might have people in my life that don't understand why they are struggling so much. How is ADHD diagnosed?
So it is diagnosed by three important things. The first one is attention deficit. Okay, so you will not be able to be attentive. So this can present very differently. For example, in a child, it'll be then not being attentive in school, not being attentive to the teacher, unable to do homework, procrastination of homework, for example. Then once you get into your primary school level, it's where the second part comes in, the hyperactivity. So here you are super hyperactive. It could be physical, so you could be very sporty, you could be very active, and again, not focused on the right things. It could also be very fidgety. You could just be very scatterbrained, and that's the hyperactivity we're speaking of. It's not physical, it's in the brain. So those are the first two main aspects of ADHD. And then those two combined gives you the third aspect of this, which is that impulsiveness. By being unfocused and scatterbrained, you begin to become impulsive. And
naturally.
naturally. And this usually always shows up in adulthood. And that's where that impulsive behavior of not being able to handle school, not being able to handle primary school, and going there, you kind of want to now prove a point, show something, and that could be a port of entry. That could be where it's like, I'm doing crazy stuff. I do not know why. I'm not in control.
Yeah.
And that's how we diagnose it. And again, as per the age spectrum, one will shine up above, but it's a spectrum of all three.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel like I've learned so much for this. This has been a truly remarkable and necessary conversation. I am certain that these practical tips will be sure to help many people out there reboot their approach to ADHD and navigate life with renewed confidence.